Hey guys, and welcome into another video. Today we're going to be going through every NFL team's biggest sleeper heading into training camp. I just saw this scrolling down Bleacher Report, just kind of seeing what's around, what kind of topics are there. Tomorrow when the Redskins reveal their new team name, we're going to be doing that, kind of reacting to that, how we think about it and stuff like that. So look out for that tomorrow. But if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We do a lot of NFL content, touch a little bit in the NBA content as well. A lot more obviously when the bubble comes back and there's more to talk about. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely been fun. So if you do enjoy the video, please leave a like on it. Give it a chance throughout the whole thing. If you don't like it, you always refresh the page, check it out again. But yeah, we're going to go through this and just kind of see where they're at. I did do a similar video of like every team's 2020 breakout player who I thought. So, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, there might be some players in there that I kind of see similar to what I think. But we'll see how they look and kind of how everything's going. So this is by Brad Gagnon, I think is how you'd pronounce it here. But yeah, on Bleacher Report. So let's just look at it and go through every team. So I'm guessing they're going to start off with like the Cardinals or somebody. So yeah, I mean, they're saying that these are guys that they're going to emerge is what they're thinking. So these are, it says context of 20-something-year-olds who have never been Pro Bowlers or All-Pros or weren't even full season starters that are expected to be full season starters this year. So that's kind of where they're thinking. This isn't going to be like the greatest. So first for the Cardinals, we have Eric. Oh my gosh. For the Cardinals, we have Andy Isabella. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with this one. This is a guy who was picked over DK Metcalf. And there's another receiver that he got picked over too. I can't remember who it was, but he got picked over some good players behind him. And the reason why is because he fit the scheme of what Cliff Kingsbury's offense is needed, and it's a speed guy, man. And to go with their speedy quarterback, to go downfield, just kind of get those long balls. His rookie year really wasn't much. He really didn't do much at all. He had one big play, which is a very good play, kind of what we thought out of him. But personally for me, just watching him, he didn't look as fast as I thought he was. And with seeing how great of a receiver DK Metcalf is already after 1 year, it definitely looks like a miss. So we're kind of going to see what happens. But I think that right now, I mean, this is a guy who is poised to break out. Like it says, just 9 catches, 189 and a touchdown. He's going to fit in a lot more. Larry's a lot older. I mean, he's still going to have a big role. Obviously, Hopkins is there, Kirk. But, I mean, this is a guy who should be fighting for some more time. Hopefully can get some more time for the Cardinals. I think it's a good spot. I think he definitely is a breakout candidate. I don't know if it'll happen. I think it's a boom or bust year for him because they might need to replace Larry after the season, and receiver might be a place where they go again in the second or third round. So we'll see what Andy Isabel can do. All right, next up here for the Atlanta Falcons, Charles Harris. Wow, this is a name I haven't seen in a while. So he's been in the league for a while, actually. Let's see. No one recorded fewer sacks last season than the Falcons. I agree. I mean, they did get snucked out of Tack McKinley. Man, I don't know about this one. This is a kind of crazy one. So 25 years old, 3.5 sacks in 3 seasons with the Dolphins. That's why it's. I mean, if he fits in well with the Falcons, and he has talent. This is a guy who is always usually like a 73, 74 Madden. You can always get him for cheap in free agency, so he's a good spot filler. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad necessarily spot for Charles Harris to be, but like I said, he's already 25. I think 3 seasons in Miami, he hasn't done much. I think it's kind of shown enough for me to be like, this guy's probably not going to work out in the NFL, but maybe he does. Maybe he has a great comeback season with the Falcons. At least if he can hit that 3.5 sack mark in this season with the Falcons, I think it's a success for them. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely a cool one. I mean, not who I would have personally picked. I think Calvin Ridley would be a good one, but obviously he's already broken out before. You can look at maybe Russell Gage as the 3. Even on the defensive side, you can look at some of their corners. I don't know. I mean, this was the guy I would pick, but hey, I mean, not bad. It's pretty outside the box thinking. So I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it. Falcons fans, let me know what you think about that one. But yeah, let's just go to the next one. Chuck Clark for the Ravens. I feel like Chuck Clark's already a pretty solid safety. But yeah, I guess he could make that next. Yeah, hard to be a sleeper on a 14-win team. He wasn't a week 1 starter, so that's pretty good. Yeah, 3 years, $15 million just doesn't seem like a breakout candidate for me, but he already is a really good safety. I like how he plays. I think he plays very well, especially with Earl Thomas on the other side. I don't know. I think he's already pretty good. I mean, maybe this is a way for him to go to the next step, maybe be a Pro Bowler this year. I guess that's what they could be saying here. But yeah, I don't really see him. I mean, these past 2 have been a little bit outside the box thinking, but I kind of already see. Yeah, okay. It says it emerges this summer and becomes one of the top players in the team. If that's the case, then yeah, he is a candidate for a breakout. But I mean, kind of like they say, there really isn't a breakout candidate for a team that was a 14-win team. So I can't really disagree with him, I guess. So yeah, Chuck Clark, that's not a bad one at all. Let's go to the next one. Levi Wallace. Now, Levi Wallace is a very solid corner, and he's one of the best corners to get in Madden. So I'm interested to see this. I think this is another one where they think that he's going to make a next step. If he can make that step with Trey White on the other side, then they're set, dude. Their defense is already so good. They did add Norman as well, who I think will be probably the number 3 or 4, honestly. But yeah, he has been a pretty solid. He's been a pretty solid corner for the Bills. EJ Gaines in the mix. Yeah, I think that I think he's pretty solid. I think that this is a guy who definitely could break out and become a solid number 2 corner next to Trey White, no questions asked, and get that locked down for him. So, 16-game starter last year, and hey, I mean, I think he's going to keep it up. So, Levi Wallace, I like that for the Bills. For the Panthers, Stephen Weatherly off the edge. I disagree with this one wholeheartedly. Just because I think that those are going to be filled with Gross Matos and Brian Burns off the edge. I don't think that Weatherly's really going to be playing too much. I mean, it says here, yeah, they have high draft picks, Brian Burns. Those two will become a superstar deal, but the veteran will likely be asked to carry a lot of load as that tandem develops. See, I don't think so. I think that Gross Matos and Brian Burns, while they're young, while they're hungry, I think that's why you put them out there for the long thing. They're not as old. They're not as, weary. They're definitely going to be able to do a lot more with their bodies. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think Stephen Weatherly. I think there could have been a better one for the Panthers. I mean, just off the top of my head, who could we? I mean, Steven Jackson, not Steven Jackson, Dante Jackson. Dante Jackson could be one. You look at the offensive side. You can even go with a Curtis Samuel maybe, or a Ian Thomas. Ian Thomas could be a breakout candidate. Yeah, I don't know. Stephen Weatherly's definitely outside the box. I don't think I necessarily agree with it, though. For the Bears, though, Riley Ridley. I did not have Riley Ridley. I had Anthony Miller. But this is a guy who could also be a breakout. This is a big year for the Bears to see what's going to happen with them, who's going to be the quarterback, etc. But, yeah, Riley Ridley, I mean, he had a little bit of hype, obviously being Calvin's brother. But, he wasn't that bad out of Georgia. So he could be there. I still think that if anyone's going to break out, it'll be Anthony Miller, not Riley Ridley. But it's definitely interesting. It could happen. He barely did see the field. He was 4th-round rookie. He says caught 3 of his 4 passes for 54 yards in the last game. But, it's second year. They had a year to develop him. I mean, maybe he does turn out to be a solid receiver this year. It could be the number 3 behind Robinson and Miller. That's definitely something that could happen. So it could be him. I think that if anyone's going to break out, it's going to be Anthony Miller over Riley Ridley. I don't know why blank on his name was in front of me, but yeah. I like the pick. I think that Riley Ridley should be a decent receiver in the NFL. In Madden terms, probably like a 75, 76 overall. But, I think if anybody, it would be Anthony Miller. But definitely a solid pick there for Riley Ridley. For the Bengals, Hakeem Adeniji. Okay. I really like Adeniji. I see. This is kind of weird because he's a rookie this year, right? 6th-round pick, Hakeem Adeniji. Maybe he was. They graded him as a 2nd-round pick. In April, they called him a bona fide stud. He was a 6th-round slot. Yeah, so I think he is a rookie. I don't think he's played in the NFL yet. I'm pretty sure. But, yes, 2019 first-round pick, Jonah Williams, the left tackle. But, I mean, this offensive line is really just a bunch of plug-and-plays, man. They signed a bunch of people and just hope that somebody's going to work out. Adeniji could be the guy. I do like him out of Kansas. I just don't know where they put him. Maybe the guard position. The guard might be really good. Bobby Hart and Suafila. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to be. But because they really haven't panned out too well outside of the Bengals. So why would they pan out too well inside the Bengals? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think Adeniji could be a very solid pick here. For the Browns, Kevin Johnson. Now, I slightly agree, but at the same time, I disagree. Kevin Johnson's just kind of been pushed around a lot because he was on the Texans originally, right? Let's see. He did play a lot more slot in Buffalo. 2015 first-round pick. Yeah, he was in the Texans. See, I think it's too late for him to break out. He did show some flashes of being a little bit better. If there was somebody on the Browns, especially because Adeniji was a rookie, I didn't think they were going to be doing rookies. It's Grant Delpit, dude. It's 100% Grant Delpit to be a breakout. I mean, taking him in the 2nd round as late as he was, people kind of wrote him off, even though he was the 1st round the year before. Top 10 talent, in my opinion. For him to be on a team like the Browns, I think this guy could be a star pretty much his first year. I really believe that. It sucks that he's on Cleveland with how how weird the Cleveland team is and how much attention they get. It sucks to see another guy like that get placed on there for basically nothing. But Kevin Johnson, I mean, it'd be cool to see him kind of have a revival being a first-round player not too long ago. So I do like this. But Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams probably above him might take him out unless if he can get the job over Williams. I mean, definitely could be a breakout candidate. But I think Williams might have that one locked down. The Cowboys, Donovan Wilson. Now, I completely disagree. It says they could end up trading for that. Jeff Heath's gone, obviously. But Xavier Woods, Hocklin, Darian Thompson, like it says they're all better suited as free safeties. Yeah, but Haha's played strong safety for a couple years. And in reality, I don't really think you need a strong safety like you used to anymore because of like how many rules there are about tackling and hitting. Getting a Cam Chancellor wouldn't really survive as long in the league this year because you can't really lay someone out like you used to, or else you're gonna get flagged. 2019 sixth round pick Donovan Wilson. I mean, he could. I mean, they signed a Loca. He didn't do anything, so I don't know why this guy would. Wilson. I mean, I guess you could have him as a breakout. I don't know, man. I think they just have so many players in their secondary that are like pretty much the same type of talent to where they're going to be able to fill it out without having to use a sixth-round pick, especially with these three safeties above him. I don't think that he would be getting the job. But, if he is a breakout candidate and he does break out because of his physicality is what they're saying, I mean, dude does look pretty freaking ripped right there. He looks kind of like a Cam Chancellor build. So, Donovan Wilson, I mean, keep the name in your head if you're a Cowboys fan. Cowboys fans, what do you think about that? Is that who you were thinking, or who is your breakout candidate? I think you guys have a lot of different options. Blake Jarwin would be the first one that comes to mind for me. So, Donovan Wilson's kind of cool, though. Devontae Bosby, I haven't even heard this name, so let's see what this is. He started 3 games in his career. The 27-year-old journeyman, right place, right time. Okay, swap Chris Harris for Bouye. They'll get Bryce Callahan back. Duke Dawson are better suited for the slot, so Bosby could battle Isaac Yadim for the number 2, I guess is what they're saying. I mean, hey, all power to him. 27-year-old journeyman. I mean, I'd love for a story for that to happen, like where he gets the job. So, I mean, all props to you, Bosby. I'm rooting for you. I don't know if you're going to be able to do it, but, I mean, this is a breakout candidate at 27. I mean, you got to root for the guy, right? Marvin Hall for the Lions. Now, this is a good one. I think he's had a couple good games, too. Galladay, Marvin Jones, Amendola, I'm not too much around. They're thinking Jamal Agnew. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Jamal Agnew is actually thinking about switching to receiver instead of corner. They did also get Quintez Cephas, who I think really, really is a sleeper. I think he's going to be a very good receiver in the NFL. At least a decent depth guy. But, 19 passes in his career, 470 yards on 19 passes, 24.7 yards per catch. He's had some pretty big plays. Stafford is a slinger, so hopefully Stafford can get the ball around, especially if there's an injury that happens. So, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I think if not here, I think that he could go to a different team, and get a number 3 job. Like if he went to the Redskins or whatever they're going to be called tomorrow, I think that would be a good fit for him because he could be a number 2 right away from there. I think he does have talent. I think it definitely could be a breakout. I just don't know if the Lions really have the volume available for him to do that, but we'll see. Green Bay Packers, Kingsley Keke. Now, this should be Rashawn Gary because that dude better be a breakout candidate this year. But, I mean, Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, it's saying they're hoping one of these guys can also step in there. I mean, that's a big boy. You can see that's a big boy. That's a hog molly. But, yeah, they got more snaps than him. Less money than Keek. I mean, this is kind of like it says he flashed as a rookie. I don't know. Maybe he could pan out. I think a lot of these are just kind of like, ooh, what's this guy's story? Maybe he'll break out, and they just kind of threw a name at it. Because, I mean, is this guy really going to break out when they already have 2 solid players at the position and then also other guys who are higher value draft picks? I don't know, man. Some of these guys might not even make the roster. So, Texans, they have Charles Omenihu. That dude looks like I'm guessing he's a DN, not a defensive tackle, right? I mean, they just need defensive line help. So, I don't know. I don't really know much about this guy. Texans fans, let me know about him. Posted 3 sacks, a pair of forced fumbles, and didn't start a game as a rookie. So he's a second-round player. He's a sophomore season. Yeah, why not? Indianapolis Colts, Marcus Johnson. See, once again, don't agree. They have T.Y. Hilton, obviously still there. They just drafted Michael Pittman. Paris Campbell's there. So it's like, even then, Zach Pascal. Yeah, come on, dude. Like, here's the thing. A lot of these, as we're going through the list, are very much like, hey, if everything happens right for this person, they might be able to do something. Like, look, so they got Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell, T.Y. Hilton there. And if either of them fails to deliver, they'll have Zach Pascal. But then if that doesn't work, you got Marcus Johnson. So it's like, I don't know, man. Especially a guy that's kind of been passed around the league. I don't know. I don't think he's going to get that much offense volume. I just don't see it, man. Jaguars, Dwayne Smoot. I agree with this one. Especially with Ngakoue not being out there, he could be a starter right away. Josh Allen's there, so if you can get Smoot to actually pan out, I think it would be very good. Plus, just how he spells Dwayne and his last name being Smoot, I think it's a sick-ass name. 3rd-round pick. So I like this. I really do think Smoot is good. How do you guys feel about him, Jags fans? Jags fans, how are you feeling is a better thing. Everyone's just expecting you to be last year's Miami, I don't see that. I don't think you guys are that bad. I like Minshew a lot, so I think that this team isn't that bad. Cornerback Rashad Fenton, probably, man. Chiefs corners, I mean, they really don't have any, and they lost Kendall Fuller. So Fenton, yeah, 6th-round pick, but hey, I mean, him and Warren Thornhill, I think that this is definitely Breland. He definitely could be in there and become a starting corner. I think they're really just putting everybody out there to see who can do it. So Carl Nassib for the Raiders. Now, he's broken out multiple times. He had even look, he was a captain on the Buccaneers. So him to be the Raiders, it's solid, but I don't think he really will break out much just because Max Crosby had a great rookie year, and they did spend pick 4 on Cleveland Farrell the year before over Josh Allen. So for them to do that, I just don't know if he's really going to get the volume much unless they move him to the interior defensive line, and I don't think they're going to really do that, even though he's like 6'8". But I do like Carl Nassib. I think he's pretty solid. Obviously, he's kind of a meme for his time in the Hard Knock series in Cleveland with his counting and stuff like that. But, yeah, man, I think these young guys are definitely going to get more of the mark. But, I mean, hey, he's got a good contract. He's able to put up numbers. I mean, if one of those guys, I mean, Gruden, I think, wants to win football games more than he wants to develop. So I think that this is a solid spot for Nassib to be. Maybe he could transform himself to the next game. Drew Tranquill for the Chargers. I hope so. I think Tranquill was pretty solid coming out. But, yeah, so it's like Kenneth Murray is – they drafted Kenneth Murray, obviously. They got Nick Vigil. Perryman's there. They got Kazir White, Nwosu. Tranquill's still there. But also they run a lot of safety sets, man. They run a lot of safety sets at linebacker. So I don't know how many snaps Tranquill will get. I think that he has talent. He definitely does. But, man, we'll have to see what happens. I think those other guys have a lot more space on the depth chart. Rams, Darius Williams. Yeah, I mean, Darius over Hill probably. I mean, Hill was solid. But it says rookie by an undrafted 27-year-old Darius Williams. So 27 years old. I mean, man, it just depends because that's a late age for corners. You might have one good year, but we'll see. A lot of these are just very very odd names and very odd stories. A 27-year-old undrafted player, we'll see what happens with him. Stephen Parker for the Dolphins. It's weird why it looks like he's about to throw a football. But yeah, I don't agree again. They got a lot of secondary help. They have obviously Bobby McCain, Colbert as well. They drafted Igbenogany as well. They already have Howard. They already have Byron Jones. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things. So if Parker can end up starting, I mean, cool for Parker. I think that'll be a good enough breakout for me if he's a good starter. But we'll have to see if he can even win the starting job because there's a lot of people in that secondary that are really trying to push to get the job. Vikings, Tajay Sharp. I agree with this one. Jefferson, he's a rookie, so I don't think he's going to get too high of a volume. Other than that, Osborne, the other guys, I can't even pronounce the other dude's name. But, they're just really not that. And Thielen gets hurt a lot. Tajay Sharp has done solid in Tennessee. Never great, never bad. But, it wasn't worth paying him. They have better receivers there. Obviously, A.J. Brown as well. So, I think it's a solid one. Never caught 50 passes or scored 5 touchdowns. I think at 25, he really had a good season last year. On top of that, he really just hasn't had a solid role in an offense yet. He also only had 1 year with Tannehill, and it was his best year. So going to the Vikings, I think he definitely could have a couple weeks where fantasy owners are very happy with what production he does. So Sharp definitely could be one. Juwan Bentley for the Patriots, again, another guy who I don't even think of him as a breakout candidate. I already think he's a pretty solid linebacker, but with no Van Noy there, Collins left as well. I forgot Landon Roberts was even there, but yeah, Bentley is definitely in a situation where he can blossom. He already had a pretty solid year last year, in my opinion. So I think he's very much in there. I don't even have to talk about this one too much. Patriots fans, you guys are blessed, man. Cam Newton's there and everything. Cool. Saints, Alex Anzalone. Again, first of all, we got to respect the hair. The long blonde hair is always a cool look for a linebacker. But, yeah, another guy who I think he's actually proven himself to be a pretty solid linebacker. And the Saints really don't have many linebackers. Kiko Alonso and stuff like that. Zach Bond joined, which is actually pretty solid. A.J. Klein. But, yeah, I mean, Demario Davis needs help. And Anzalone has actually been there for a couple years now. So I think he's pretty solid. I think he'll be able to keep his role there. I don't know if he'll become like a perennial Pro Bowler. But, I think he'll definitely keep his job as a starter throughout the season. So we'll see with that. Next, Giants, Jayden Smith. Okay, now, if you guys are new to the channel and you don't know, I'm a big Giants fan from New York. Jayden Smith is a absolute beast. And here's the thing. If this were to happen, Evan Ingram wouldn't need to be on the team. We wouldn't need to pay him, which is kind of scary. When you think of the tight end position, you think Evan Ingram. But the 2017 first-round pick has been limited to just 14 starts over the last 2 seasons. It is big. It was a big problem last year, especially. Daniel Jones did not have many people to throw to last year and still had it. Coordinator Jason Garrett utilizes multiple tight ends. And Jayden Smith had a great year last year. He was drafted in the 6th round. San Francisco didn't even put him on the team. We picked him up. And what did he do? 25 or 35 passes for 250 and a pair of touchdowns. And that game against the Redskins, he was feasting on Landon Collins the whole game. It was a very good game for Smith. I'm a big fan of Smith. I don't know if he's really going to be a top-tier tight end. But if we do use 2 tight end sets and Caden Smith is balling, I guess we could keep both. But you could flip Ingram for some picks, maybe something else that could help the team and help you out a lot because the injuries are a big problem for Ingram. As much as I love how great of a talent he is, the injuries are very scary. So, I mean, if he is hurt, I'm very confident what Caden Smith can do. So, Caden Smith, definitely, I do like this. Big fan of this one. So, props to that. I was thinking more Lorenzo Carter. I think this could be Lorenzo Carter's year to drop that kind of like a, not bust, but I don't know, that stigma that we need an edge rusher. Maybe he could fill that role. But, yeah, Caden Smith is definitely one. Big fan of Caden Smith as well on the channel. So, next, we have Ashton Davis for the Jets. I love Ashton Davis, especially if Jamal Adams isn't playing for them. He's going to slide right into that safety role. He's going to do a very good job. Just watching him at Cal, watching his tapes and stuff like that, I think he's a very fun corner safety to be. I think more or less he's going to be better at the safety spot. I think with how they were going to play with Adams there, he was probably going to have to slot into the corner position. But right now, with Adams pretty much going away, hey, Davis is pretty much going to be a starter, and I'm okay with that. I think that he has a lot of value, especially for a team like the Jets, who is very young. I think he can build with them. I think he's going to be a very solid safety for a long time in the NFL. I enjoyed watching his tape. I thought he was going to be possibly a first rounder. I had him in the first round for a couple mock drafts, but in the end of it, I'm going to end up saying, oh, this is a good spot for him to learn behind Jamal Adams. Obviously, that's not going to happen, so we'll see what happens with the Jets. All right, and then we go over to the Eagles. Josh Sweat. Man, we've heard about Josh Sweat breaking out for 2 years now, I feel like. It's possible. 2018 fourth-round pick, Josh Sweat. I just think the Eagles are a team where it's like everybody they think is going to break out. The Eagles are always that team where it's just everybody overhypes the hell out of them no matter what. And it's kind of a weird situation, but he could. It's just hard, man. Their defensive line, their front seven is always pretty solid. I guess there's a lot more space in the linebacker spot than there used to be, so we'll see what he can do. But I don't think he can really transition to an outside linebacker role. It's definitely going to be more of an edge, so I don't know. It could happen. Barnett and Graham are definitely hard to replace, so I don't think he would be able to overtake their throne, but we'll see what they can happen. I mean, Sweat's definitely a talent. I think he could be something. Chukwuma Okorafor, I think I said that right. For the Steelers, he definitely could be. They had, what's his name? It says Banner made it on the field for 216 snaps. He's more of a household name inside and outside of Pittsburgh, but that doesn't make him a better player. I agree. Okorafor is definitely solid. I liked him coming out of college. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah. But I don't know, man. Once again, with offensive line, it's hard because pretty much teams, once they have their offensive starters, unless there's somebody that they selected or they paid to replace them, I really think that they just keep them there because that's the chemistry you have to build with the line. So, we'll see what happens. I personally don't know if that would really happen for Okorafor, but just for the name value alone, I think Okorafor would be cool to be in there. But once again, another guy who I think could benefit going to a lesser team and getting that volume and end up being a pretty solid player. Now for the Niners, they have Jalen Hurd being the breakout, and I don't necessarily completely disagree. I would think if anything, it would maybe be Pettis or Ayuk, even Kendrick Bourne. But, Samuel's hurt, so that's obviously a big thing. Hurd definitely could be. He missed his rookie season and is healthy. I think Hurd could be a very solid player, especially because he's healthy. 6'5", 230-pound converted running back. So he's a raw. It says he's very raw. It's not out of the question that Hurd will emerge as Jimmy G's top target. I think everything is put in Hurd's favor. I think that if Hurd develops well, I think Pettis is completely out of 49ers for the roster and the organization. I don't even know if we make the training camp, but I'm excited. I think Hurd could be a very solid player. He's built very well for a nice receiver. He's got the speed. So we'll see what happens, man. It's Ayuk and Bourne are definitely 1 and 2, I think, and Hurd could definitely win that number 3 though. For the Seahawks, Marquise Blair. Now, the safety position is very weird. I thought they were going to go after a guy like a Xavier McKinney at the end of the first round, but they didn't, which is kind of crazy to me. But, yeah, Diggs definitely earned his spot. But Bradley McDougald, I think, spot is in question. He could take up more. But Marquise Blair, 230 snaps as a rookie. That's not bad, though. That's not horrible. I think that the secondary, especially for the Seahawks, I think the Seahawks definitely like rotating people out, having a lot more people, fresh legs in there. just kind of seeing what they have in different players. So, Marquise Blair definitely could end up turning up to be a solid player for them. Next, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they have Scotty Miller. A lot of people are very high on Scotty Miller this year because behind Godwin and behind Evans is really no one. Miller's probably going to be the number 3, especially because Brashad Perriman left. So, I mean, Justin Watson as well is another guy. But, yeah, Scotty Miller, a lot of people are high on. I mean, Brady does like white receivers, man. Amendola, Edelman. I mean, these guys have always been very good for him, and they do a very similar thing. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it could be. It doesn't matter if it's Watson or if it's Scotty Miller. I think that either way, it's going to be one of these guys at the 3, and they're not really going to get the ball much compared to Evans, Godwin, Gronk, etc. So, Tennessee Titans, Darrington Evans, definitely because Henry can't carry the ball as much as he has been, or else injuries will happen, or worse, he's still a franchise tag. You won't get him. I don't know. If Darrington Evans can blow up, you don't have to pay Henry, which I think they should pay Henry no matter what. But Evans kind of is going to fill what Dion Lewis was supposed to do. It just be a younger Dion Lewis. I think that's a pretty good spot for them. Obviously, this is Derrick Henry's team though, so Evans is going to be more of a pass catching guy. But I think that I think Evans can do a good job. And then lastly, for the Vikings, the Washington Redskins, their name will change after this. Obviously, Troy Apke. Landon Collins, one of the best strong safeties in the NFL. I think last year was a down year for him. I mean, he had a lot of tackles, but he was getting burned in coverage, and I think that's something he's got to work on, his coverage. That was a big problem with him on the Giants, too, is his coverage stats, his coverage abilities are just not that good comparatively. But, for him, but when you look at what they have for free safety, I mean, Apke could end up being the free safety. Sean Davis said probably will be the starter. But this defense is going to be insane with their defensive line. So outside of it, it really doesn't matter. You just have to be able to not get held back at the position. But what do you guys feel about this? Let me know what your team is in the comment section below. Who you think their breakout candidate is compared to who Bleacher Report has theirs as. Giants, I like the Caden Smith one. I think it might be Lorenzo Carter though for me. But I just definitely don't disagree. Like I said, if you guys did enjoy the content or the video, please be sure to leave a like on it. It helps me out a bunch. There's about 93% of viewers that are not subscribed. So if you aren't subscribed, please be sure to subscribe as well. There should be something popping up in the middle of the screen as well, probably somewhere down here or somewhere. It's going to be somewhere on the screen. But definitely check that out. So please be sure to subscribe if you do. Check out some of the other videos that are on your screen right now. They should be tailored towards you as well. And if you did enjoy it, please leave a like. If you didn't, just refresh the page, check it again. Let me know what you think the second time. And without further ado, that's going to be it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.